Greetings, everyone. This is me, Zahra Berserk, again to remind you and show you that this Islam is a false religion and Prophet Muhammad is a false messenger and prophet, and to leave this religion as soon as possible to spare you the pain. But it's too late since being a Shia once, later on finding out much later on in my life that if you leave this religion, there is punishment, whether death penalty or confinement, depending on your gender. So the Shia say they have done a thorough research on this scientifically too, and seen all the hadiths from the Umayyad Sunni Sahabas, wives, and all, right? And the life of Prophet Muhammad they've studied. So they've done a thorough research, and after having done a thorough research, they came to the conclusion that Islam is a true religion and Shia Islam is the true school of thought, true Islam that should be followed for your own betterment and for the betterment of the world and humanity, human beings, individuals, societies, communities, families, like that, your lives. So have they, I've been questioning Shias this also, have they done a thorough research on that? Because I've shown you in my previous live streams some discrepancies, not only in the Quran ayats, but also in the Shia works, commentaries, which come from religious scholars, and thus Imams have given them these commentaries, tafsirs of the interpretations, explanations of Quran ayats, let's put it precisely, explanations of the Quran ayats. And sometimes how the Quran ayats are wrongly interpreted by others, so the Imams have corrected them, the Shias, shown them the correct interpretation of the Quran ayats, like that, right? So last time in my previous live stream, I was on Zainab and Zaid's case. Also, that I will be doing again. And so have the Shias done the research thoroughly? I question that. And also, so is there proof beyond reasonable doubt from the Quran and Hadiths and Tafsirs and Sirat of Prophet Muhammad that this was the Prophet Muhammad, true Prophet of Islam, right? So let's see. I'll be slow at times, and thank you for bearing with me. Hope there is no interference this time. So then after an hour or so, half an hour, I start explaining things to someone and questions come forth. I can't ignore them, and sometimes I get angry and upset. So I'm not prepared, and I'm not good at answering questions, or explaining this. I'm not prepared for this, but I tried to prepare a little bit. Even then, I wanted to throw my work. It was of no use on this some notes I made earlier on. But I will be using that perhaps. Let's see if I use that. So here we are. This ayat I found, right? There is a person, and in this surah we are told in the Quran, chapter 6 of the Quran, ayat verse number 93. And who is more unjust than one who invents a lie about Allah or says, it has been inspired to me, while nothing has been inspired to him, and one who says, I will reveal something like what Allah revealed. But if you could but see when the wrongdoers are in the overwhelming pangs of death, while the angels extend their hands, saying, discharge your souls. Today you will be awarded the punishment of extreme humiliation for what you used to say against Allah other than the truth, and that you were toward His verses being arrogant. So this verse is also there. One challenges that I can reveal a verse same as the one revealed by Allah. So the Shias have not spared us that pain, which was very, very unbearable at times for some of us, maybe, to leave this religion and, get Imam Hussein out of our hearts, the way we believed in Imam Hussein and Imam Ali and thus Prophet Muhammad and the Quran and all that. They didn't spare us that also, and the punishment, because you see, you must see that the punishments are very severe uh, in leaving Islam. So however, we were told, do not follow your religion blindly. You can do your research, but they came to the conclusion that we will see that Islam is the truth, and we will never leave it, as Imam Ali has described Islam to be. From that also. So, but they did not spare us all this, the punishments, severe punishments. And so, did they even look at some of the ayats like this, which I have shown you in Surah Baqarah? Also, there's one who makes Allah bear witness to his heart, or calls Allah to witness his heart, and all this, but does mischief. So wherever the ayats are about Prophet Allah being a witness to Prophet Muhammad's truth and all, cannot be taken until we do a thorough research on that. Cannot be taken as true, as of enough, sufficient enough, or the angels, or the book, the revelation. So, and also we needed to see if the Quran has any threats against, like Ahl Kitab, for example, this ayat that before we obliterate your faces, so Surah Nisa ayat 47, this, if now as we do our research, so we can say that since this ayat is present and the threat against them is before we efface your faces, is very extreme threat. So the danger of this is that for the Ahl Kitab, could they have been forced to believe, and if it's a false prophet, what happens? The danger is that since we are told in the history by Ibn Ishaq or Ibn Hisham, or about Huway, that Prophet Muhammad was in contact with Huway ibn Akhtab, and they were discussing the mystical letters of the Quran. So since there is this ayat which has a threat, can we rule out that this a prophet, a false prophet, tried to attack or harm or threaten them and stole their things from them, their scriptures? And so, since looking at this ayat, we cannot rule out that if he's a false prophet, then he can also do this. And also seeing the Quran not in proper order, disorderly way has come to us in the form of a book. So that too we can see that it cannot come from a true God, right? Since God claims that it's a perfect book, we've protected it from all things, but not proper sequence, right? My sincere greetings, says Christopher Machiko. Thank you very much, Christopher Machiko, for your sincere greetings. Same to you, greetings. God bless you and your family members. Thank you for being here. A warm welcome to you. So, this And Muslims, this is for justice. I am not prejudiced, neither. If I wanted the West to give me all that attention, I could have been a Christian, right? So, I mean, even as a Shia, we were told that Prophet Muhammad used to deal with the hypocrites the way apparently they behaved with him. So, if they smiled at him hypocritically, he would smile back at them. So you cannot if someone gives you a good greeting, then give them a better greeting. It's in Surah Nisa ayat. Since Christians come here, you may think that I'm being nice with the Christians or foreigners, but I have no reason to be bad with them, unless they give me a reason for it, right? And since they come here, they bless me, I bless them. They greet me, I greet them. So this also, if I wanted to, I could have become a Christian and had a lot of support from the YouTube channels like Adam Seeker is getting. Sorry, I have to pick on him. From Sira International and Sam Shaman, other Christians. He's getting Rob Christian and ex-Muslim Ahmad, an Arab ex-Muslim Ahmad, Christian now. So he gets all that in, but it doesn't mean that. No, I'm not saying he's a bad person, but sometimes he abuses. I have a personal thing against him, but in this, I'm not saying. But if I wanted, like you can see, I'm not saying he also does. Sometimes in my anger, I would say you're sucking up and this and that, and you want. But maybe he's a sincere person. Maybe I'm wrong. Adam Seeker is a sincere person, and he has his reasons that he has become a Christian, and now the Christians are giving him. He gets attention and all this. And also as a Hindu, you see, I am very unbiased on that. I speak my truth and where I'm at. So I'm not looking for attention, things like that. Okay, so now we have here a threat. And some Muslims like Salahuddin helped me to see through the Muslim thought that since this is the true religion, then to save those people, they had to threaten them, like give them empty threats or were the serious threats. These are serious threats, but for violent threats, serious threats of punishments and all this, for their betterment and for the whole world's betterment, and for their end also, that they would get paradise. But you see, the danger in these kind of threats is that they can be carried out seriously, like rubbing off the faces. So even if they were Christians and for the betterment, and Jews and for the betterment, would this be feasible? Would this be reasonable? Christopher Machoko says, "We sincerely love you, just like Christ Jesus loved his church." Thank you, Christopher Machoko, but I don't. Thank you for your love, but I don't think that Jesus Christ, would love me. And please, Christopher Machoko, we are not. Sorry, this is not a missionary work here, right? I don't allow missionary work. Christians doing missionary work here. Please don't use this live stream for missionary work. This is what in Karachi, we were saying, my cousin and I, we were talking, my cousin wanted to put his daughter into Christ, Saint Mary, Jesus and Mary school. And he was saying that he's a bit scared because he was a Shia and that Christians use love and all that, so his daughter could be pulled towards Christianity like that, with their love and all, using loving ways to convert Muslims. right, Christopher Machoco? No, if you look at Deuteronomy, Christ does not love. And if what Sam Chamon showed us when I was on his live stream, he was saying that in Deuteronomy, Christ is there, or in Exodus, or where? So Christ has always been there. What about those? Do you believe? What if I tell you that through the Hindus, I send you love as Radha Rani would? Sri Krishna. Beautiful Bhagavad Gita, better than any Bible in the world, any scripture in the world. And Krishna was very dynamic, right? Uh, so it wasn't like there was this God who was getting angry, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and then he regretted making human beings also. And then, and then, now would you love me? Or would you get angry at me? Because there was someone here, political grasp, who came here. She said, oh, you're saying this about Christians? Why are you mentioning Christians like that? Or he said it. And then she said, I will tell my angry Christian friends, they will get angry at you and all this. So please see, all these religions, I don't believe in their scriptures or anything. But Hinduism has more consistency than even the Bible, Old Testament and the New Testament. You can see there's a stark difference between a jealous God who would not allow anyone, any images of him. We say that he's the true God, that's why he doesn't allow images and all this, but then he sent his son in the form of a man. Excuse me. So thank you for your love and all this, right? Jesus loved his church. Jesus loved his church. Jesus did not love pagans, but yes, love your enemies. As that way he loved. So now, oh, you have been given the book, believe in what we have revealed, confirming what is with you. Now, could we sincerely confirm also that Jesus, no, wait a minute, that Jesus said that I am just a prophet, a Messiah, and the Spirit of Allah, like in the Quran, but not the Son of God in the way the Christians take the Trinity and all this, right? So we have to see that, and whether Jews in their books. So if you find Muhammad in their books, the name Muhammad, Ahmad also, I would say even then don't stop. Go deeper into it, because you see, you can't rule out things like threats given, and he could be a prophet who stole from them, even may have killed their chiefs, like we are told Moses, Allah told Moses, God told Moses, 12 springs will come out, and so there are 12 guides also, there are 12 tribes, and so all this, the imamat also comes from the Old Testament, and it's mentioned in the Quran, only, you would say. But some things are mentioned. I wonder if the imamat is mentioned. Chiefs, their Jewish chiefs, after their prophets leave them with something, that the coming of the Messiah for the Jews, because the Jews didn't believe in Jesus Christ as the Messiah, the seed of David, from the seed of David. Now, you have to do more research, right? Because he could have stolen from their books, and their threats here, he could have threatened way to give him a part of what they had, and made himself, and copied, pasted, like some say he did a long time ago, that he copied and pasted. No, he took from the Talmud, I had heard, from the Jews, books, uninspired books he had taken, the rabbis had written. And remember, it was the rabbis who wrote these books. So some of the stories in the Quran, they say, come from the Talmud or the uninspired books of the Jews written by their rabbis and uh, like that, right? The religious scholars. So that also you must consider. Then what else is there? So Ali and Muhammad, and he gave us such a great imamat with the Quran, all this. But the 12th Imam is in occultation, this point also. So he's not with us. And he will see if there are 40 Mu'mineen, believers of very high rank, then he will come up here. Otherwise, they say the world people will kill him. However, at the risk of believers who are not connected with him and are reading this Quran in, you know, unexplained or not explained properly. So, how do we know that this religion is true? Even the chiefs came from Moses, and there were Jewish prophets, many of them were Jewish, right? Egyptian, Moses was from Egypt, but mostly Jewish ones. Solomon was from Egypt, like that, but mostly like Jewish prophets. Now you can see from the ayats, like Surah Baqarah 204 and 205, that there's one, like I said, who bears witness, calls Allah to witness to his heart. I've shown you this earlier, I need not show you the two verses. And he makes mischief, he destroys crops, we've seen in Surah Hashar. Although he says that Allah did it, of course using Allah. Who else will he use? And but violence, like breaking of the houses, since they were trying to assassinate him. And then you will give me this verse, right, from Surah Baqarah, Surah Hashar. You'll say, read Surah Hashar, ayat 14, that they will not fight you but behind ramparts, houses. Now you see, initially you can see even the Sahabas uh, of Prophet Muhammad did not want to fight. And they were called hypocrites. And then in Surah Nisa, why would you not fight? Before you go to Surah Nisa, that the women, children, elderly men are crying out for help. Oh Allah, help us, and send someone from yourself to help us. Before you go there, there's an ayat in the Quran which says that in Ali Imran, to the earliest Muslims or someone, polytheists or Yathrib people, Ali Imran verse, I think it's 167, at least if not in the cause of Allah fight, then at least defend yourselves, right? So I took the hard way because some of you would still want me to burn all the bridges. Surah Al Imran verse 167. At least fight, if not in the cause of Allah, at least defend yourselves. They replied, if we had known there was fighting, we would have. What is this? So you say, oh, these are just hypocrites. What the Quran ayat says, that they are lying. They are hypocrites. No, you cannot do this in your research, prior initial research. You have to go deeper and deeper. Because Shia said, religious scholars, that they did a thorough research, looking outside of Prophet Muhammad and his progeny, and seeing who are the real enemies of Islam and then putting them in order, and who are the hypocrites in Islam, and who were this and who were bad, who were good, who was true. And if this religion was false, we would have told you this religion is false and he's a false prophet. So, so how did you, haven't you jumped to the conclusion? Because as my research goes, now when I look at this Quran, come fight in the way of Allah or at least defend. They said if we had known, there would be battle. Okay. But then in Surah Fat ayat, there's something against the Baduans, and they ask for forgiveness, and then you put them in a category of hypocrites. You say these are different category of hypocrites, not what we are told in Surah Munafiqun, the surah on hypocrites, since, okay, they don't come to ask for forgiveness. So Allah has been describing all sorts of hypocrites that he got. Prophet Muhammad got in his lifetime, the worst hypocrites. So here are the hypocrites who say, we don't want to fight, we are with our family, we don't want to go with you and protect you or help you, like Surah Fat ayat says you should help the messenger, Surah Fat ayat 9. So we don't want to. But so ask forgiveness for us. And there's also another ayat in the Quran, it says that Allah might forgive, might not, might forgive the hypocrites. I found, I think in Surah Tawbah ayat, so the numbers I'm forgetting, sorry, in Surah Azab ayat 24, I think it was. However, these Bedouin hypocrites who did not want to fight or help him, but wanted some spoils of war, okay, Surah Azab, verse 24, let me show you. Is this the one? That Allah may repay the truth, yes, punish the hypocrites if He wills, if Allah wills, or grant them repentance and accept it from them. So you say Allah didn't forgive those Bedouin ones because at first they were with those who fought against the Muslims and all this. So it gets harder and harder. And I also showed you about the soul, that if you could be working, struggling until Allah has mercy on you. So wasn't there someone who could tell you, please come, let me show you how Allah can bless your soul so that you do not go wrong and sin against yourselves or others, harm yourselves or others. But it would fail. So your intellect, and it could be the satanic intellect, is very high, sophisticated, right? Reason, so as we are told, use reason also in Surah Yunus ayat 100. Otherwise God would put abomination on you. So also to use this reason initially. And then we can go to higher truths. Of course, no doubt there are higher spiritual truths we can aim for. But in our research now, so I took the shortcut now. So I hope I said this properly, that if there were, again, in the books, there's a mention, earlier books, and now why don't you believe in him before we efface your faces. So if this threat has been given and he turns out to be a false prophet, he could have threatened them, also made them hostages, stolen things or snatched things away from them with this threat that we would efface your face, and exploited Allah. Since there are tyrants like we are told, Yazid. But Yazid may not be a tyrant at all. And he's the tyrant. So what happens to a person when his esteem is low, low self? Even look at the psychological effect. One person is acting like a self-righteous person, and the other child, you are, you know, making uh, making them go low in their having, you know, getting a low esteem, self-esteem. What happens? This is where corruption comes in. The person doesn't think he's good enough. Already the soul, we are told in these Quran ayats, is inclined to evil. You're giving a child a very hard time unjustly. Okay, you have reached the position of self-righteousness or righteousness even, truly, and piety. God will reward you for that. But why be so strong, so harsh and hard on a child or on a teenager? Now, Nangabai has come. He says, "Ma'am, namaste, namaste, Nangabai, namaste." Dhanyawad. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, now, so this ayat, this jumps up and down, sorry. It takes, okay. Now you see in here, like I've caught the Shias here. So again I'm going to show you. Look, Ayat 36 says, "It is not for a believer, man or woman, when a matter has been decided by Allah and His Messenger, to have any option about their decision. If anyone disobeys Allah and His Messenger, he is indeed on a clearly wrong path." So when the believers obey Allah and the Messenger in His decisions, and they have no option, like Zainab bin Josh had no option but to marry Zaid, and she didn't want to. Then for love to come in the heart of Zainab bin Josh for her husband is Allah's thing, duty, right? It becomes incumbent on Allah, like the verse says, to help the believers. There's a verse in the Quran, it says it becomes incumbent on us to help the believers, the messenger, and all this. Another thing is, I showed you the love ayats and affection ayats, where it says even if you spend your entire wealth, you cannot put affection between two hearts or between two human beings. It is for Allah to bestow that, right? Then Surah Maryam ayat 96 or something, if I'm not mistaken, the number is correct of the ayat, that those who believe and do good deeds, the gracious God creates love in their hearts. Right? The gracious God creates love in the heart. So now back here, if Prophet Muhammad, what he says is that Zainab thought she was a highborn and she was a widow of the Quraysh, highborn, and so he wanted to tell her, no, marry my adopted son who was a slave. And so Zainab was saying, no, he was a slave, he's a freed slave, and even though he's your adopted son, I'm a highborn of the Quraysh, widow of the Quraysh, this, that. No, everyone is equal. So you can see in Islam, not everyone is equal. There are slave girls who have a lower this thing, even though they are chaste and all, and they don't keep secret lovers. In Surah Nisa 25, we are told, if you have fear, you be patient, but in very rare cases, you can't stop yourself, then marry these slave girls instead of believing women who are rich, whom you cannot afford. Right? So what if you can afford them? But you have this fear. So marry them also then, you would say, right? And so there's no discrimination. But there is discrimination. There, at least Surah Nisa tells us that these lower than believing women, if not rich, but they are slave girls or maids. But but there are. If you take permission to marry them from their guardians, their maids, lower. So no, but Islam in ransom, free the slaves. Okay. So I don't know what the Sunnis say, maybe the verse is abrogated and all this, and the remains that you free the slaves. Anyhow, so all this problem I was having, but a very simple thing now. I've been showing you in my previous live stream, I came back to this, and today also, that you see, now Zainab was highborn. But she was told, come down to equality, get married to Zaid. Prophet Muhammad told her. And so it is said, this verse says, it is Allah, when Allah and His Messenger have decided. So they decided for Zainab bin Josh to marry Zaid against her will. At the time of their marriage, when she was informed by the Holy Prophet, she did not like the proposal. So her brother Abdullah bin Josh and both of them, according to Imam Muhammad bin Ali al-Bakr, wanted to exercise their freedom of choice in this matter. Then this verse was revealed. This verse up here, right? Then this verse was revealed. We must not put our own wisdom in competition with Allah's wisdom. Right. So you would say, 37 ayat says, we did this so that we use Zainab for the betterment, to make it easy for the believers. Now, he knew that the marriage would end in divorce. So he sacrificed two good believing people, Muslims, believers, two, like male and female believers, whatever, however you may put it. No, that's not right. If a law has to be established, then shouldn't he use his he shouldn't even use his family member like his daughter for this, right? That she should have a divorce later on. And so in the end, everything works out fine. Zainab bin Josh gets, but he didn't do this to his daughter, because then Zainab bin Josh, after divorcing Zaid, gets married to, becomes a Mu'mineen of the believers, gets married to this prophet who's example, honored, high, lofty, this, that, high moral character, harmless creature. He's an harmless, he's perfect man, this. Okay, another thing, what else could come up now? So here in this ayah 37, this part you would say, God also he established this through example, that there may be no difficulty to the believers in the matter of marriage with the wives of their adopted sons when the latter have dissolved with the necessary formality their marriage with them. And Allah's command must be fulfilled. Now look who's deceived you about Allah and who has deceived not only Allah but the disbelievers. There's an ayat there. There's an ayat. I can, So let me go with the flow here, because I'll forget. Already I have to come here 1,000 times to explain myself and get it right. So you get it clearly. So I won't go to that ayat, that there is someone who wants to deceive Allah and the believers. Now, back to this commentary, Shia commentary. So, we must not put our own wisdom in competition with Allah's wisdom. So due to Allah, so you'll say, oh yes, it worked out very well. Zaid also became a martyr. He went for the Muta battle. He was sent by Prophet Muhammad, and he got, he was martyred. So he's martyred, right? Okay. Both were good believers. Now come here. No, sorry. So where am I now? Competition with Allah. We must accept it loyally and do the best we can to carry it out. You see this? I'm not the one saying this. It is your own imams and religious scholars passed on to religious scholars. The intellect, the reasoning, right? Do the best to and do the best we can to carry it, the marriage proposal, and then she accepted against her will. She has no option, we're told in verse 36. Carry it out, right? And the marriage should not break. Believers, you are successful. You will be successful. Or you say, no, in the because their calamities, Elizabeth went through so much. So, no, believers are successful in the end. In the end, God will help them most surely. And God is with you. So He has given you such patience of remarkable, like, amazement. Awesome patient. Like the Ahl al-Bayt, the Bibi Zainab and all carried out, Imam Sajjad. During Karbala and after Karbala. Going from Karbala to Kufa to Sham. So, okay. So do the best, but look at this. Although the wisdom of God we cannot. So they did not question compete or question the wisdom of God. They both submitted their wills. And do the best we can to carry it out. We must make our will consonant to the will of Allah. So what question? We must not compete with the wisdom of Allah. In this, not later on, and the marriage would break. So believers in this dunya wa akhirat and the hereafter, this world and the hereafter, make our lives beautiful. Okay? So we are told here that also refer to the commentary of Nisa 65, Zainab the highborn could not reconcile herself with Zaid. Now they're blaming Zainab. Both were good believers. What? Zainab the highborn could not reconcile herself with Zaid. Although she obeyed here for the proposal and married him, still it was difficult for her to reconcile herself with Zaid. Wait a minute. Both were good believers and both loved the Holy Prophet. Oh my God. So, here comes Zainab. Now who she obeyed Allah. Now, isn't it a bit of Allah's duty when we get married? What do we Shia say? We also want the blessings of Allah and the Messenger, right? For our marriage. We want the blessings. We want the religious scholars to pray for us. We want our parents' approval and prayers. Now, what a thing when the Messenger himself is there. And what a thing when both Zainab and Zaid have submitted to his will and Allah's will. Okay, first, I always do this. Allah's will and his will. Obedience to him. You will be successful. So, give us the evidence. Yeah, you will say that she got married too. After the divorce, she couldn't get along. So she got married to her. The Holy Prophet got married to her to ease her pain of divorce with Zaid. And it couldn't work out, the marriage. But couldn't Allah have put love, like He says in the Quran ayats, that it is, if you spend all that you have, you cannot put affection in the hearts of two people. It is Allah who does it. And in Surah Maryam ayat, what are we told? Those who believe and do good deeds, the gracious God creates love in their hearts. So now a little bit Allah had to put in Zainab's heart, love for Zaid. We say, during Nikah time when the Maulvi comes, it's very blessed time. Angels, like the bride even if it's an arranged marriage, the love comes at the time of nikah, because nikah is such a blessing. It is a sunnat to get married, right? Then even if it's an arranged marriage and you have said, okay, I like this person, you told your parents, it's an arranged marriage by your parents or someone, they say, okay, I like the person. But that love comes down to your heart. Allah blesses you. That attraction comes at the time of that aqad contract, when the nikah is being recited, right? Sorry, excuse me. Oh God. So I have this problem. Sorry about my condition and all. Now, what else? So both were good believers and both loved the Holy Prophet. You see, Shias, you can't put that blame Zainab. You can't put the blame now. During the marriage, she still could not reconcile herself with Zaid. Could not reconcile herself with Zaid during the marriage now. And that was mutual incompatibility. Mutual incompatibility, and this proved to be the cause of separation between them. Zaid wished to divorce her. The Holy Prophet tried his best to prevent separation from them. The Holy Prophet tried his best. Now, what is to happen when you submit to the will of Allah? Now, Allah needs to bring love in the heart of Zainab. What did the Holy Prophet want? That Zainab accept Zaid as compatibility. The Holy Prophet is saying, no, it doesn't matter if you're high-born. Islam says equality between slaves and freed slaves even. And I've made him my adopted son. He made a freed slave his adopted son, or Khadija's freed slave, if you take the Sunni hadiths, tafsirs. Zaid was, or history, Zaid was a slave of Khadija. But the Shia, okay, he was a slave of Prophet Muhammad, made him a slave, but then freed him and adopted him as his son. Okay, now you see this. Where am I? In my last live stream, I said it succinctly. Look, you cannot blame Zainab while now she's obeyed, because Zaid wished to divorce her. Incompatibility, and this proved to be the cause of separation between them. So please hold on. In the end, you will understand what I'm perhaps trying to say. Right? How much time has gone? So, what has happened now? Oh God, don't tell me 48 minutes have gone. Now, the Holy Prophet also tried his best. Where is it? The Holy Prophet tried his best to prevent separation between them. Allahumma salli. Like Allah and the angels send blessings on Prophet Muhammad. You also salute them, or believers, with a gracious or honorable salutation, and bless, send blessings on him. You also salute him with an honorable salutation. Those blessings, where are they for this marriage to last? Because you need to carry it out. It says here. And Zainab should be a source of happiness for her husband, and her husband should be a source of happiness for Zainab. So why is the marriage breaking apart? You blame Zainab, but you don't see that now it is God's duty to put love in the heart of Zainab and bring her down to accepting the low status of Zaid. But since she loved the Holy Prophet, we are told, and she obeyed him in the first time, she can bring herself down to, she's a believer. So believers, why couldn't she accept that thing about the Holy Prophet? That wish of the Holy Prophet, or whatever you say. Obey him completely, right? That you, Zainab, you're supposed to come down to the level of the slave and status. Even if his status is low, love him as your husband. He's a freed slave. Tell me, Shias. So, you see where you could have been deceived. If you're not lying, I don't know. But are you deceived? Sometimes I say, stop lying. Shias, your peers have lied to you and you are lying to yourselves now. A lot is at stake. We can't leave this religion unless, we die, depending on our gender, or we are confined, or, what is in the Shia Islam? For apostates. You did not do proper research on this. No matter how high level intellectually you may come, because Zainab's reputation would be ruined. Now she's worried about her reputation. She wasn't worried about her reputation when she was a Quraysh widow. You see? Now she's worried about her reputation also. So, and why should there be mutual incompatibility in the marriage now? Zainab should have accepted what Prophet Muhammad said. Why did he say get married to Zaid? Treat your slave, my freed slave, my adopted son, as a high, same status as yourself. There's no caste system here, right? There's no equality in Islam, right? So this is what Zainab had to do, and we are told she failed to do that. That's not right. Zainab, we are told, was a good believer. Both Zaid and Zainab, meaning Zainab and Zaid, both were good believers. However, something happened to Zainab and she couldn't, there was mutual incompatibility. She couldn't bring herself. She thought she was still, she tried her best. Also, Holy Prophet tried his best to prevent separation between them, please. Now, do you get my point, or are you going to confuse me and I'm going to... But if you get confused, then you're not too sure it's good. If I confuse you, it's good. Then it will help you leave this religion, somehow get the brainwashing out of you. So, also Zainab cannot afford in this religion. She has to completely surrender to his judgment. Taslima, who find no resistance in them when in the judgment given by the messenger prophet. Let's see how. And completely surrender their will. Please bear with me. I'm going slowly. You've got to understand this. Who is deceiving whom? I think it's Surah Nisa ayat. Even Dr. David Wood pointed this out. it's Muslims, it's not only to Allah, but it's to Surah Nisa 65. What does it say here? What did Prophet Muhammad initially want Zainab? Why did he force her into marrying Zaid? What was the wisdom of Allah in that? Don't jump to Surah Azab, verse 37, the next verse after 36. So, you are intelligent, right? But I have to explain to you every single thing, right? Because how you are brainwashed and how you're deceived. They make you judge until, oh, sorry, I'm reading the other way. But no, by your Lord. By your Lord. وَرَبِّكَ. Not will they believe until they make you judge about what arises between them. Then not they find in themselves nafsakum. Oh, nafs. Right? Any discomfort about what you have decided for them, right? What did you decide for Zainab? That she should accept Zaid even if he was a freed slave, even if he was lower status, but that was of the time of pre-Islamic Jahilat time, ignorance time. Pre-Islamic. Now Zainab, you are a good believer, and it even says she's a good believer. The Shia commentary says this. In themselves, any discomfort about what you have decided and submit with full submission. So I couldn't complete this in my previous live stream at the end about this whole incident that I've been going round and round and keep mentioning, going to other ayats, but coming back to this. Very easy. I can show you from this very easily. So submit your wills fully on the decision. What did Prophet Muhammad want from Zainab? To accept Zaid, even though he was a freed slave. Previously he was a slave. Now Islam says equality. So then how come, and here it says with complete submission. And there it says, even I'm not the one saying it. I'm Haran still, surprised at the Shia commentary here. That they were both good believers. Even though Zainab started to think that she still had this thing that she's highborn, and she could not reconcile with Zaid. Zainab the highborn could not reconcile herself with Zaid in the marriage as his wife. But what has Prophet Muhammad told her? You marry and accept him as your husband, even though in the past he was a slave and a freed slave, now an adopted son, according to the Islamic way. Zainab, according to that ayat I showed you also, needs to accept taslima with full, find in herself no resistance. When the Prophet Muhammad has also decided a case. And another ayat you want, this is the best, taslima. And the love ayats I showed you, only Allah can put love in your hearts. Good the believers, sorry, not even good, but those who believe. All this, you see, you can work it out. And then there is what he gives you, what the messenger gives you, take it. And what he withholds you from, leave it. What the messenger gives you, another ayat, take it. Please pay attention. And whatsoever the messenger gives you, Surah Ashur, Ayat 7, gives you, take it, and whatsoever he forbids you, abstain from it. Right? Now, another ayat. Men are maintainers of women. Zainab is what. And even if you don't agree to the Shia commentary, I haven't spelled this right, but maintainers of women, caretakers, Quran ayat. Zainab is supposed to be obedient to her husband now. Additional. Men, Surah Nisa ayat 34, men are the protectors of women. What could be, Z could be, if you look at the commentary, men of that ayat, Surah Ahzab ayat, men are the caretakers of women, as men have been provisioned by Allah over women and tasked with supporting them financially. But Hazrat Khadija was at one time supporting Prophet Muhammad. He was sorry. He was he was working for her, so he was getting his wages. Sorry, no. But now Islam says that men, it's not incumbent on women, obligatory on women to work and be the financial providers of their men or family members. And righteous women are devoutly obedient, and righteous women are devoutly obedient, and when alone protective of what Allah has entrusted them with. And if you sense ill conduct from your women, so some critics, you see, because they read this translation, if you fear. So if you sense, some Islamic critics say, if you fear ill conduct, what this religion is always on fear, fear. No, if you sense, you have some intuitive sense feeling that there's some ill conduct from your women, advise them first. If they persist, do not share the bed. This is what Zaid could have done with Zainab instead of going to the Holy Prophet. But he was present at that time, you would say. But then it was Zainab. So why does he say in Surah, why does Surah Azab ayat 37 say that Zaid, he told Zaid, fear Allah, keep your wife and fear Allah, right? But if they still persist, then discipline them gently. Okay, so now we've got a different translation of this. It doesn't say hit them. Okay, whatever it says. It doesn't say hit them. It says don't fear, but like you have this evidence somehow that your wife is being what? Just disobedient to you and not protective of what Allah has entrusted her with. So if you sense ill conduct from your women, or you see the ill conduct, so the righteous women are obedient, guarding in the unseen that which them to guard orders. What if after this, in the end, you see that you take the most false story from history, Islamic history? You will take that, because I'm going to take that, and I'm going to tell you why I took that, if I ever come to it. If my pain and all this allows me my condition. What if Prophet Muhammad went to, that story was right. Because Zaid was poor He was just so obedient to Prophet Muhammad. He didn't have a problem marrying Zainab. Zainab had a problem marrying Zaid. And then he didn't have a problem with her in the marriage. Zainab, we are told, had a problem with him. Unreasonably, unjustifiably, thinking, oh, well, no, I'm highborn. No, I can't. There's incompatibility all of a sudden. She finds that out. And Prophet Muhammad didn't even make sure for that there should be no incompatibility in the marriage. Call to offer, hello, call to offer greetings. Sister, God bless you. Praying you have the best of health and spirit. I just joined the stream. Yes, I know you just joined. Okay. Nice to see you here. Thank you, call to offer, for being here. God bless you too. And praying for your, I wish you the best of health, the perfect health, and high spirits, best of spirits. Thank you for joining me. So glad you joined me here. Kaltoffer, how are you feeling? How is your health? Your eyes and all after the surgery, everything is well? Hope you're doing great. Have a blessed day. Wonderful, always. High spirits. One with God. Divine. Love is divine. So hope everything is great with you, your life, your work, your family members, your health, safety, protection, security for you. Something, some notification, vibration from other. Let me just see. Okay. So please now see this, right? That I'll be. Why am I? Because I want ill conduct, fear. What? You fear. تخافون. خوف میدونی. So sorry, that's Irani. خوف میدونی. Yani you have fear. If you fear their ill conduct, it's fear. The Arabic word is fear. Sorry, as I said, Irani. خوف میدونی. Oh, you see now how these Muslims have been embarrassed by the the Islamic critics, most severely from the Christian, I think, evangelists on YouTube, that they now put sense. If you sense an ill conduct or something, disobedience, or not having, you know, kept their trust, fear disloyalty. But who was disloyal? Who went to Zaid and Zainab's house? Okay, you see this? But this ayat is here. But please, that story is there. And I'm telling you, I'll show you, I'll prove it to you, that this false story where Prophet Muhammad goes to Zainab's house, Zaid and Zainab's house. This hadith also is there, right? Or is this only in the Sirat? Prophet Muhammad goes wherever it is, goes to Zaid and Zainab's house, finds Zainab in a shift. Sunni Hadith, give me. Sorry, I have to put it this way. Sister, I'm feeling just about perfect. God is good. Thank God. Great, great. I'm happy for you, Kaltoffer. Ah. Ah. Look at this ridiculous. This is after he got married to Zainab. that Dr. David Wood is right about this hadith from Sahih Muslim Book 8. Also look at this. Now, Sahih Muslim 1428b. Is this the one called offer? You know the hadiths. When the iddah of Zainab was over, Allah's Messenger said to Zayd to make a mention to her about him. No, this is about. So I turned my back towards her and I turned upon my heels. On Fridays, when the prayer comes, they turn on their heels. Look what Zayd is trying to tell you. And said, Zainab, Allah's Messenger sent me. What a wicked, what an. And Shias has sent me with a message to you. She said, I do not do anything until I solicit the will of my Lord. So she stood at her place of worship and the verse of the Quran pertaining to her marriage was revealed. So he hid in his heart. What a terrible counselor, marriage counselor. It's in Al-Qurtubi. Acha, Qurtubi. But don't forget that. So Muhammad said, send Zaid तुम लोगों की where your ethic, where your compassion, where your heart, and how you Shias have done your research. तुम लोगों की गैरतें कहाँ चली गई? Noha. Acha, it is in Al-Qurtubi. So it's not in a, it's in Al-Qurtubi. So, acha. That's why I can't find it like this. So, wait a minute. I'll find it in, I know where I'll find it. Wikipedia. Zainab bin Josh. There is the story. I'll find it. Zainab was said to lose her temper. Also quick to calm down, like me. Marriage to Zaid. The Prophet was well aware that it is but standing in the eyes of Allah that is important rather than his or her status in the eyes of the people. Then marriage would demonstrate that it was not who their ancestors were, but rather the standing in the sight of Allah that mattered. So Zainab should completely submit to this reason of Rasulullah. So she could hardly have thought that he was not good enough. She can hardly have thought that he was not good enough. She was an ambitious woman. However, and may already have hoped to marry Muhammad. Allah Bachara, why are you... Acha, Muhammad, it is not for a believing man or woman. Sorry, excuse me. Gora chal raha, horse riding. The 9th century historian Al-Tabari gives two independent accounts. You're right, Kaltoffer, thank you. It's no, it's not is it Qurtubi also? But this is Al-Tabari. Sunni. But I take this. Gives two independent accounts of a visit that Muhammad paid to Zaid's house. Now I've given you reasons why I would take this. The hareskin curtain that served as Zaid's front door was blown aside, accidentally revealing Zainab dressed only in her shift. Zainab arose to dress herself, informing him that Zaid was not at home, but he was welcome to visit. However, he did not enter. He exclaimed to himself, Praise be to Allah who turns hearts around, and then departed. Citations. Muhammad ibn Jarir al-Tabari, Tarikh-e-Rasul wal-Muluk, translated by Laudo Tesseron, if I have pronounced his name properly. Muhammad ibn Jarir al-Tabari, Tarikh al-Rasul wal-Muluk. So Qurtubi also, a quote of her, it's in Al-Qurtubi also. This is Tabari. However, this story has been rejected by most Muslim scholars. Citations are given, mainly because of its lack of having any chain of narration and its complete absence from any authentic hadith. So there's no hadith, authentic hadith. Complete absence. Some commentators have found it absurd, of course, that Muhammad would suddenly become aware of Zainab's beauty one day after having known her all her life, because she was also Muhammad's cousin. If her beauty had been the reason for Muhammad to marry her, he would have married her himself, or maybe to punish Zainab for some reason. Because this guy, this, he's not a guy even. You can't call him a human being even, right? This man, he had some problem seems. So even, not beauty, but maybe to punish that, or punish both of them. I don't know for what reason. Because you see, even her first husband's name is not mentioned, unknown. Zainab was a widow, and she was a proud widow of the Quraysh, and she had no problems. So when all I show you this Shia, then what? This Tabari, coming from Tabari called Tawfar. So maybe Qurtubi also mentioned from Tabari, but Wikipedia says Tabari. I not know. So we're going back to the. So now I've ruled out everything, showed you what Allah could have done here. And Zainab, the highborn, cannot be blamed for incompatibility in marriage. All the reasons from Quran ayats I'm giving, that uh, when he's showing that you should marry a slave or whatever background he comes from, you have to fully submit to him. Surah Nisa ayat 46 or 64. And what the messenger gives, you take it. So you have to, it says here in the Shia commentary itself, I'm not saying it, you have to carry it out. And now we are being told that Prophet Muhammad tried his best, and both were good believers. What are good believers supposed to do? Submit their will completely. So in marriage, when Zainab obeyed the Prophet to marry Zaid against her will, she has to carry her will, has to be in complete submission. That God bless her and bless the marriage and bless her heart with love for Zaid. Oh, Shias, do you see where you? Please, please, I'm doing this for your own good. Maybe initially you'll give me you'll throw, my mind later on yesterday. It was like someone, I needed to get to my heart and start, doing something like light. Shri Radhe Kalki. Be innocent like child. Leave your head like you have been beheaded now. Every day for a Muslim leader, my murder, behead me. My head gone, thank God. Now my heart working. Thank God that high intellectual. My head was like dizzying heights. I was like, don't pull me. Don't pull my intellect. Let it be. Let it be. You understand what I'm trying to say? Carry it out. Do the best we can. But now God forgave Zainab the highborn, who could not reconcile herself with Zaid in the marriage. Both were good believers and both loved the Holy Prophet, but there was mutual. Oh, you stupid making! You have been made a stupid meaning. Mind your language, Zahra. I see mind my language in London. Mr. Brown. You know? Ali the Pakistani and Indian lady. Mr. Brown. Namaste. Yes, Jamila. British TV serial in childhood. Shall we now take a break, or you still want me to hold your hand and lead you, guide you through this? The Holy Prophet tried his best to prevent separation. How slow am I going, you know? Because Zainab, this live stream, I tell you, it will finish. Once it finished Shia Islam, then Sunnis would only be in this religion avoiding the embarrassing this, that, only for their personal security or conditioning, habit. My mother, father was, my forefathers were, Quran only, this only. So, thanks to those Christians who made my work easier, like Dr. David Wood and all, showing the Sunni Muslims through their hadiths and all. Now you want to be Quran only, okay? But Islam fallen. It was not this Islam, not true Islam. Maybe Islam come from that Yathrib era of Jews, Christian era of Najrans, Ethiopian Christian priest, that they saved the Muslims. In the Message we are shown movie, 1976. I go with my father and his brother to watch in London. 1976 it came out. You see? Now tell me, Shias, I appeal to you. Please don't let your children unhealthy mind. You are also, you know what he has done and what that Surah Nisa, disciplining wives. He turns out, what? He wanted to marry. I don't know what he wanted to do actually. To showing that he's a good, I don't know. I have no words. As it is, I can't prepare. I am not a good explainer, a good teacher. With words also I'm not good. But give me a chance, right? And I can show you logic fails here. Reason through the Quran ayahs. Sozo says, hello sister, Jesus loves you. Thank you, Sozo. And God loves me, that we know. And if God loves us, then it should be enough for us. Jesus loves you, Sozo. So, thank you. How you Christians come with your work, I really. You are Christian, huh? Sozo. God loved the world so much that he sent his only one and only begotten Son. He couldn't have done it earlier, Sozo. So really, you Christians, I tell you. Right? Hope you take the joke, but I'm serious. Leave all this. I tell you, leave your Christianity. Look at this. Religions, how they deceive us. Huh? So what shall I tell you, Sozo? Thank you for being here. I'm honored to have you all, mostly Christians here. And Nanga, Bhai, brother, see, he also honored. All in God's time. Religions may deceive, but God never. True. Sozo, now you've come to the truth. God, religions may deceive. These false religions, I tell you. Yeah, and well put. Thank you. You gave me some, like there is still some light, as Christopher Machoko asked, is there any light at the end of the tunnel in this religion? So I said, yes, but I don't know whether it's Lucifer and light, because there are ayats in the Quran about believers having the light at the end of judgment. So now, do you see the deception here? Okay, I'm showing through but once I'm done with the Shia commentary and the Shia religion, once I convince the Shias, convincing is through seeing, and I've gone slow enough, right? So please uh, think about it. What else is there? So I'm saying don't blame Zainab as they blame her for the mutual incompatibility, because she was a good believer. And what is a good believer supposed to do? Right? Sister, I like you because you don't say anything without backing it up. Thank you so much, Kaltoffer. You like this way. Thank you so much. Kaltoffer, you are my mouthpiece. So thank you. Can you now see this and help my Shias out of this deceptive religion, but not to break them and ask them to come to Christ? Love your style. Really, I'm honored. I'm humbled. Um, this is perhaps the grace of Bhagwan to me. My mother would never. My mother was very lenient. And if I would tell her, she was very understanding. She had a sweet soul. So if I would tell her I'm reincarnated, she would say, okay, beta, okay, child, I know. Okay, like that. And she would not argue. And when she was, uh, you know, in her true self. So you see, but life gets to us all. And sometimes even people bring the worst out of us, as someone like brought the best out of us, like my principal also, lenient, loving ways. So please take the loving ways, not the harsh, hard ways, strict ways that I later on learned from my principal, Mrs. Munira Gulzar, principal of St. Joseph's College from 1983 to 1993, 10 years, or 1994. So let the children play, have fun, also that. And don't kill their innocence. Don't kill their fun, high spirits. You see, these strict religions, very dangerous also, and not true. they're deceived. See how high morals and all this, although our religious scholars, whoever, okay, you want to be a monk, you can be a monk, but it's not allowed in Islam. But don't criticize the monks, because you see, okay, you are in life, but you have stayed away from many things. God, it's between you and God. But for those who have gone to parties, clubbing, maybe like Jesus Christ and Jesus of Nazareth, I saw, he he said, "What have I come here for?" So let the peace. Oh Lord, you are here in our club. Like, remember that scene? He went to save the a brother. So Simon, or James, or who? Right, the disciple. I'm forgetting the name. So Kalki Avatar, you know, you will get your reward, whichever religion you come from. If you have been true to your religious values, principles, God will give you the reward for that. But I'm sorry, it's God also comes to save those lost souls and bring them out. He may even go to a club to bring someone out, but not act righteously like this person of high morals. God can even save prostitutes, but not by self-righteousness, showing, but attracting them in some other way. So I've seen one teacher making me very strict, like, I could not now stand lies in Pakistan, Karachi. I started to get angry and all this. And then another principal, when I got over that teacher, miraculously taught me that accept it. This is, what does Rumi say, or Hafiz? This is the assembly of lovers. Come, criminals, come. Come all. Right? So by strict ways, you may succeed by forcing someone, but it's not the best way. The best way is to use love, and we grow in love the best way. Love never spoils. Pampering, you see, a mother may be smothering the child, pampering the child, but if she has true love for the child, true love never spoils a child. So trying to find words also how to say this properly. That you may say that you're saying spare the rod and spoil the child. Okay, my mother also punished me harshly, but as harsh, but even my religion was very hard. There were harsh punishments in the grave, from the grave, in life also, and hereafter terrible, horrifying. But this did not keep me away from doing bad things or going after my desires, or what Imam Ali says, your inordinate desires. Call to offer says, sister, I don't even listen those self-righteous hypocrites. They are law for thee, but not for me. Yes, and doesn't it prove through some of the ayats in here about Prophet Muhammad, against Prophet Muhammad, that he was a hypocrite, telling the believers to be steadfast in word. Allah is telling them to be steadfast. That ayat, you remember, call to offer from the Quran, and then Surah Tahrim ayat, in order to please his wives, to break a law. And then he's saying, Allah has told me, it's okay. My dear beloved Prophet Muhammad, so I have allowed you the good things made lawful for you. Why are you prohibiting yourself to please your wives? that the good thing I've made lawful for you. So this is what I've been trying to show you. But okay, I have some obstacles in the way that Shias are more intellectual, and they will tell you they've done thorough research on this, and they're more eloquent, and there's the eloquence of Ali, Nahjul Balagha, and all this. So I will keep coming here, and maybe you will not give me a chance. Some of you Muslims, Shia, Sunnis both, but maybe if you give me a chance, you will not regret it. You see, because then I not put answer solutions on you. I don't want to, you know how they say it. I'm not a bookworm or a book thing. My English very like simple, like my own. So I not to shove things in your mouth and through your throat. Then we can see that one friend of mine, Christian, he say, no, you not have to be religious to be a good feeling. Like for a kitten, stray kitten, you want to take her home. He tell me, Zara. In Pakistan they call me Zara, right? He says Zara. Z. He called me Z. He say we not have to like this feeling for other come in our heart or for animals. Not we not. It's not because of religion. Nothing. But I was like confused. Where's that good feeling? I have been chasing after goodness. Right? God knows. God take care. We have earthquakes everywhere now today. We have an earthquake in New Zealand. Please pray. But I'm really gone off prayers now. I not know what to do. It's beyond me. I think it's in New Zealand. Live stream here news on YouTube. We have earthquake again. Now, Turkey not finished our shock. Earthquake. Horrifying. I mean, this is apocalypse or something. I don't know. They say earthquake in New Zealand recently. I not even want to look at it. So if you have the heart, our shock not finished. I don't know how they are in Turkey, affected by the earthquake. New Zealand today. New Zealand hit by earthquake in wake of cyclone Gabriel. Today's news, yeah, a day ago. I don't want to even look at this, sorry. So I'm very faint hearted. God knows what God can do with his people. Yes, at 6.3. Yeah, thank you. Some a sister nowhere in the Quran was this made full for him until this verse was revealed. Yes, Surah Tahrim, right? God knows, but you know, in Surah Maida, you're told you can have those haram meat if you are in extreme case where there's no food and you have to survive. Yes, correct. So I don't know, but I need to. Here I cannot fail. Thank God, I saw it. I had adopted son. Surah Mujadila 2. Do not call anyone your mothers. because your mothers are only who gave you birth. Then he makes, then that, he makes, Allah makes prophets' wives the mothers of the believers. There again, Shia intellect, the Muslim coming here challenging me in every ayat, every way. Surah Tahrim, cult offer, you know what Muslims say? They give defense, such defense for Prophet Muhammad. But here, I think, have I exhausted my reasoning and the ayats to say that Zainab, you see, how can you say that in the marriage, although she obeyed God and His Messenger, God, please give me my heart hurting, my whole body hurting. I can speak in this pain, so let me speak properly. So Allah and His Messenger decides upon a matter. So what she do? She surrender. And once you surrender your will against your will, you surrender to Allah and His Messenger here, not only to Allah. Then I showed you that you have to surrender completely. When, what are we told in that ayat, Surah Nisa ayat 64? We have to surrender to Prophet Muhammad's judgment. In that ayat we are told, with a full submission. Taslima. Now tell me why you say they were good believers. No. Then now what you're doing is that you're not putting proper reasoning here. So in the end you would say, but wait, before you get to the end, where Zainab gets married to Muhammad, then the problem is solved. Her misery is solved as a widow. She could not submit her will completely in her marriage to Allah and the Prophet. You see, because here it says, and also the Quran ayat say, so where the blessings and the Quran, believers will be successful once they submit, obey Allah and the Messenger, right? But then you would say, that's in the end. Here, what? Here we have trials and tribulations, but the mercy of Allah is present here. Do you realize if Jesus is what? Here is the mercy of Allah personified in Prophet Muhammad, sent down. Then mercy. Then I showed you these ayats, right, about love also. In my previous live stream, were you called to offer? Did you see my previous live stream? So if you take my previous live stream and when I start with this multilingual Quran Shia commentary, verse 36 of Surah Azab, as I continue here, from the previous live stream now here, as I continue, you will understand I've exhausted my reasoning, and it is this reasoning that makes him a false prophet. And you have been deceived, Shias. And the Shias who tell you they have done thorough research, I question that much now. So you could have saved people from being killed by leaving this religion or confined. Yes, I seen it. You saw it, right, Caldoffer? Sometime, I'm my inside. When someone says I agree, like that quote, you see it, right? With evidence, with the reasoning. that my reasoning better and will win over the Shia reasoning about this and the Islamic reasoning? So there should have been no incompatibility because initially Zainab, she submitted her will. It is not fitting for a believer, man or woman, when a matter has been decided by by Allah and His Messenger to have any option about their decision. So, what am I saying? Once Zainab has submitted, Allah, if you say no love, she was still this. She was a good believer, but Allah say, okay, I become generous with you, Zainab. No, 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 no. Don't go like that. That's not good reasoning. Go step by step. You're missing some reasonings here. According to the Quran ayats also, that Allah put love, O you who believe, O you who believe and do good deeds. The gracious God, Allah, put the love in your heart. Surah Maryam ayat number in the 90s. 91, 92, 93, 94, what? I showed you in my previous live stream, right? So Allah put the love. And other ayat I showed you where it says that if you spend your entire wealth and give it ransomly, you cannot put affection in the hearts of two people. Between people, you cannot put affection. Allah put affection. And that wadud, you know what wudan or wuda, wadud, it comes from wadud. It's a name of Allah, loving kindness. Ya wadudo, ya wadudo, ya wadudo, zikr Allah. Name of Allah, the attribute of Allah, whatever you may call it. We do zikr of it, right? Ya wadudo, ya wadudo. So, so God, it is now God's duty because she has submitted. Then how can you say that there was still incompatibility and Zainab could not reconcile with herself as his wife now in the early stages of marriage? Or, you know, in marriage she could not reconcile herself with Zaid now, but she submitted her will. So God helped a believer and God put love in her heart. And what was Prophet Muhammad's wish? To teach Zainab bin Josh that all equal. So he can tell his believers later on, you are all equal in the sight of Allah. A free slave you can marry. I mean, you know, what, please, give me eloquence, right? What else I show you? Which ayat? Surah Nisa 47. Oh, you have been given the book. Believe in what we have revealed. What? No, this is about effacing faces. What ayat here? 40. That Sunnis, if you say Quran only, you have to submit to Prophet Muhammad's will. Dr. David Wood, Muslims, showed us this ayat, right? With full submission. Tasliman, not man, taslima. N is silent here in Arabic. Noon is silent. Submission in full. Please look at this. And Zahra, you stop whether you mispronounce whatever, but you are telling the truth. You're showing how I am telling the truth. Through reason, step by step, Quran ayats. And here, even the most sophisticated intellect of the greatest shaitan, like Prophet Muhammad and his Allah, will not succeed. In Surah Azab, commentary of Shia, Kaltoffer says she did submit because she didn't want it, so why didn't Allah fulfill His promise? Yes, Kaltoffer. Fulfill His wish, Prophet Muhammad's wish, right? She submitted. Now it is for Allah to put love. And you see, here we are told in Surah Nisa 65, but no, by your Lord, not you will not believe until you make Prophet Muhammad, messenger, the judge. Until you make the judge him. They make you judge. You who? Exactly, right? Kaltoffer saying, you messenger, about what arises between them. The dispute, whatever arises between them, then not they find in themselves nafs, in themselves, even forget soul, the whole selves, you see, any discomfort about what you have decided, you, the messenger of Allah, and submit in full submission. Now take the case of Zainab bin Jahsh. After she has obeyed against her will, because we are told in Surah Azab 36, no option have the believers when Allah and His Messenger have decided. So believers must obey. Otherwise they will be the losers. And what if, what about Zainab? Now she has submitted against her will. Now we are told, and you know how Shias get away? That no, Prophet Muhammad never wanted to marry Zainab. She was her cousin. She was his cousin, maternal cousin. She was his cousin, maternal, paternal, whatever, but cousin. They grew up together. She has seen him. He has seen her. So why would he do? And the Muslim who take that story that he fell in love with her, false story. He judged that Zayd and Zainab get married. No, he decided. Yeah, he didn't judge. He decided. Yes, he made the decision for them. Surah Azab ayat 36. You see this, right? So he decided what Allah and the Messenger have decided. So you see the judgment thing I'm giving you, like even where he judges between you, you have no say. You have to completely submit to his will. You should not have any inside you. Like this verse is this ayat on judgment. So you will not believe, it says, until you make him a judge. So just an example I'm giving you, which comes close to like when he decides for you about your life. Like the ayat I gave you from Surah Hashar also. What he gives you, take it. What he refrains you from, refrain from. What he doesn't give you, don't take that. Or what is that Surah Hashar ayat also. So here, although it's judge, there he's Allah and him have decided a matter. Then the believers have no options. Even if it be about their lives. Their lives. So once it is decided, you have to obey Allah and the Messenger on the decision about your life, and in which you don't now have an option or will or consent to say no. So it's like here, judgment, fully submit, where inside you find no, you find Like, for example, in this verse, it's about judgment, but it's similar, right? Althofer, you find insight. So the marriage should last, carry on. I'm not the one saying it, but reason says it. And even reason says it, and I go with that reason, that the marriage must carry on. Zainab had been a source of happiness for Zaid, and the marriage should carry on, should not break, because she submitted initially, and this is what we're told, and that they are good Muslims. So that's why I give some of these ayats for you to understand, not to get confused. His decision was they get married, but Allah failed. Um, you see, Allah should. No, they say Zainab failed. But I'm saying Allah, Zainab submitted against her will to marry Zaid. The messenger had decided, Allah and the messenger. Yes, what Allah should have done is put love in her heart for Zaid. Like, how can there be incompatibility in marriage amongst the believers who have obeyed Allah and the messenger? Blessings are there. I've shown the ayats which say, blessings from Rasulullah in our marriages. What do we invoke? Allah and Rasulullah, right? We invoke Allah, but we invoke blessings so that we get blessed. We have a blessed marriage. Allah failed. So don't blame Zainab bin Josh. And the Prophet Muhammad tried his best, put his best efforts. This is not right reasoning, right, called offer, even by the Shias. So once we get over with the Shias, Sunni Islam has no chance. How can Zainab fail if Allah and His Prophet made the final decision? Yes, for her, yes. How can Zainab fail being a good Muslim? This is invoking, look at the thoughts, look at the reasoning given here. We must, so, you see, Imam Muhammad bin Ali al-Bakr, fifth Imam, says that both Abdullah bin Josh, also her brother, she did not like the proposal. So her brother Abdullah bin Josh and both of them, according to Imam Muhammad bin Ali al-Bakr, fifth Imam of the Shias, wanted to exercise their freedom of choice in this matter. Then this verse was revealed. What does the verse say? It says, 36th verse, it is not fitting for a believer, man or woman, when a matter has been decided by Allah and His Messenger, to have any option about their decision, about their life, their marriage decision, who to marry. If anyone disobeys, in this case, but it's general. But now we have a special case, so I read the context. And when I read the Shia context, I see Shia context doesn't make sound reasoning for this. Zayd and what it has given us, the story about Zayd, what happened. It doesn't give sound reasoning. You see? So the Shia commentary itself doesn't give sound reasoning to me, let alone the Sunnis. If it did, I would have been a Shia right now. So this ayat is in general, but then there's a specific context. In context, they The Shias have given the commentary, the context. Now, wanted to exercise their freedom of choice in this matter, then this verse was revealed. We must, so this verse, 36, and now what he says, what they say, the Shias, we must not put our wisdom in competition with Allah's wisdom. Okay, Zainab didn't. We must accept it loyally and do the best. I'm not saying it. So what did Zainab do? She didn't do her best to carry it out? Do the best we can to carry it out, right? Carry out the marriage. Proposal sent by Prophet Muhammad. We must make our will consonant to the will of Allah, right? We must surrender to the will of Allah. We must merge our will with Allah's will. Also refer to the commentary of Nisa 65. Zainab the highborn could not reconcile herself with Zaid. Now it's in the marriage. For God's sakes, do you want me to go into circles? Keep repeating myself? How can Zainab the highborn not reconcile herself with Zaid? God, it is God's duty when the bride, let's say it's an arranged marriage, you like the person, now you have submitted to your guardianship's, let's say, proposal. You say, okay, I like the man, this is in Islam, he's a nice, pious man. Maybe you're going after looks, don't look at looks. Look at this thing, maybe there's no chemistry. I don't love him. Okay, but I will compromise. My, guardians, my parents say, he's a good man. Okay. I surrender. I like him. But now the nikah, we are told what happens in the nikah sermons. Why the salwat? Why durud sharif? Why do Muslims say durud sharif? This is dumb. How can you force someone to something and turn around and say she was wrong for doing it? This goes against all logic and common sense. That is the thing. It goes against, and then blame her. They are saying she couldn't reconcile in this marriage with Zaid. Call to offer, you put it very, like you have slapped us, yeah. If I was a Shia, I would feel like, yes, we are so dumb. We can't see it. Call to offer just said it bluntly. This is dumb. How can you force someone to do something and turn around and say she was wrong for doing it? This goes against all the... No. She was not wrong in obeying. Firstly, they're not blaming her. Allah was supposed to make the love happen. Yes, the blessing and the mercy of Allah is there. They are good believers. But they're saying initially she said she wanted to exercise her consent. I don't like Zed. I don't want to marry Zed. Or very politely put, I don't want to marry Zed. But they forced her. Allah and the Messenger. And then they're saying she couldn't endure in the marriage with Zaid. There was mutual incompatibility. So I'm saying believers are told that you will be helped if you just obey, you will be successful. Then the Shias come and say to me that no, in the end, here are trials and tribulations. But in this case, you can't apply that. In this case, Zainab initially obeyed Allah and the Messenger against her consent. You have no option. If you disobey Allah and His Messenger, He is indeed on a clearly wrong path. You will be going on the wrong path. So the believer, man or woman, it is not fitting for a believer, man or woman, when a matter has been decided by Allah and His Messenger. In this case, was Zaid and Zainab's case, marriage, forced marriage. Another issue. It's a forced marriage. And then they're saying you can't question the wisdom of Allah also. But I'm saying before you go very far in this, and that Zainab got married to, Rasulullah got married to her, made her Umm al-Mumineen, and Zaid was martyr. Sorry, excuse me, in the battle of. So in the end, it all turned out well. For Zaid also, he became a martyr. For Zainab also, she got married to Prophet Muhammad got married to her to assuage her misery as a widow now, as a believer, believing widow. But I'm saying before you go that far, see here it fails. You see what I'm saying, Kaltoffer? I'm saying that what is this Shia? Forget what I'm saying then. What are the Shia commentaries saying? We must accept it loyally, which she did, and do the best we can to carry it out. So against her will, she accepted it, okay. But if you're forcing someone, okay, what is the wisdom? We must not put our own wisdom in competition with Allah's wisdom. This is wicked. I mean, in the case of your marriage, your choice. And then probably the Muslims will say that Zainab was used, this incident was used to make it better for the believers. So at the end of the day, all is well. You see, 37 ayat says that there may be no difficulty for the believers. Like in the beginning, they were saying 9, age 9. So if the Sunni hadith is right that Prophet Muhammad got married to Aisha at the age of 9, then it means that this law was established. So Allah used Aisha at the age of 9. What reason is that? Then they all have to be godly people. They have to be true for Allah to use them to establish their law. You know, like Prophet Muhammad has to be an example of his law, what the laws he gives out. You understand? Did I say it properly? Prophet Muhammad, when he says something, if he acts upon it, then the believers will follow him because there's a ayat to follow him. Follow what he, follow his moral character, so they have to imitate him. So when the religious scholars a long time ago, when this was not widespread, that 9-year-old Aisha and 9-year-old, and the Shias couldn't, they would say, the Muslims, to establish a law, like 9-year-old is your age to pray namaz, now start your this and get married. 9-year-old. You can get married. Something like this. Like to pray. Start praying. You become eligible now. Kaltoffer says, but Allah forced it and has the power to make it happen. It's not like a human forcing it and not having the power to do anything else. Right? Because Allah says, the power to put love in the hearts of the believers is in me, not in you. Right? So I've even given the Quran ayats on that. Surah Maryam ayat. So what did it say here? Those who believe and do good deeds. Hello, Silvery Mango. Hello, welcome. I've seen you for the first time here, your name. So those who believe and do good deeds, the gracious God creates love in their hearts. Surah Maryam. What ayat is it? 96 it is. You see Kalthofer here? Surely those who believe in good, let me go to Quran.com, because there are many different, the gracious God assigns for them love in the hearts of the inhabitants of the heavens and the earth. What it is? In brackets, wait. So it is Surah Maryam. So Zainab was a believer and she did a good deed by obeying Allah and His Messenger against her will. She submitted. Where? Quran.com. So there is one of two conclusions. Allah is a liar or is powerless. Yes. Silvery Mango says, love this already. Thank you so much, Silvery Mango. God loves you. Oops, wrong emoji. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much, Silvery Mango, for the feedback. Someone here loves this. Encouraging. Otherwise, I feel like it's a lose situation with the Shias, with their highest intellect and thorough research. Otherwise, they would have not accepted this prophet to be a true prophet. Indeed, those who have believed and done righteous deeds, the most merciful will appoint for them affection. So Zainab was a believer. And doing good is, of course, like she submitted against her will and married Zaid. Now, should she not carry out the marriage? And should God not put love in her heart for her husband Zaid? Did Prophet Muhammad not force her due to this, that you get married to Zaid because status equality in Islam will be established? I'm trying to establish. Do you have Discord? No, sorry, I don't have Discord. And I don't use any other. I'm now very busy on this YouTube. So please look at this. Please pay attention to this. Kalthofer, can you give me some feedback on this? I'm asking the Shias to not go concluding that everything turned out well. Because you see, reason here fails in your commentary also. Even the Sunni commentary. So I will take the false story which the Sunnis also now claim it is false. Kalthofer says, sister, this is my son being a 14-year-old, living carefree and having fun. Don't take him serious. 14-year-old living. Who is that? Your son? 14-year-old living carefree. Okay, but Kalthofer, please see this. Indeed, those who have believed and done righteous deeds. And believers, if you submit, if you obey Allah and the Messenger, how many blessings will you get? For your marriage also, for your life, right? So, Zainab, you see, Zainab obeyed Allah and the Prophet. How can she not carry out the message? Silvery Mango. Oh, it's your son, 14 years old. Silvery Mango, hello. God bless you. May you shine a beautiful, blessed life. I wish for you. You have a wonderful father. Perfect health. You see this Kalthofer? You see this? You see, Christians are coming, but I wonder if the Shias are coming here. So, compared, and you see, God is supposed to put love. Indeed, those who have believed and done righteous deeds, good deeds, salihah, the most merciful will appoint for them affection. Both Zaid and Zainab are believers and good believers. We are told in the Shia commentary. Now, taking the Quran verses with that also, the commentaries, and of course, the ayats. So, in this case also, how can the marriage fail? If you give all you have, you can not put affection in the hearts. Allah does. Allah bestows affection, loving kindness. Quran ayat. So what do you have to do to be a good wife? Believer, you will not fail in your marriage. Once you submit your will, she fully committed, but where is the blessing that is promised to her for fully committing? True. That's missing. If you had spent what Surah Anfal ayat 63, if you had spent whatever is in the earth, all not you could have put affection between their hearts, but Allah has put affection between them. So how come now Zainab bin Josh is being blamed that she didn't succeed in committing fully to the marriage? Huh? But she was a good Muslim, both Zaid and she was a good Muslim, right? It says both were good Muslims. So what is Allah to do with both good Muslims? Put affection between their hearts. Take Surah Maryam ayat 96. Take Surah Anfal ayat 63. So now it's narrowed down to the missing blessing which falls on Allah. Yes, that is my point here. Yes, since initially, in the beginning, Zainab finally said, okay, I obey, I give in to the decision that Allah and the Messenger. Oops, there's some work going on, so upstairs or something. So yes, I'm saying that don't you see that it was Allah's duty now to put that love in the heart of Zainab for her husband. So blaming this innocent woman is wrong and evil. Yes, she could not reconcile with Zaid in the marriage because she felt she was highborn. Prophet Muhammad this and that. But then Prophet. So you see, okay. Oh God. Call Toffer. Sorry, as much as I love to be here and go on, holding your hand, reason by reason, not jumping to conclusions what we are given. Okay, the work is going on, sorry. So I'll leave. Thank you so much. I'm much grateful. I cannot say how much grateful I am. Call Toffer. It's Allah's fault. This is a false prophet. He's trying to deceive you. So you go to the conclusions of it and you say all is well. But here you cannot blame Zainab for not being able to and telling Zaid, keep your wife and fear Allah. And you hid in your heart. That's 37 ayat I will also come to, which I haven't come to. Next time I will come back. Call to offer. Thank you for your help. It's much cherished. And hope you see this so you don't even incline to Shia Islam in any way.